Hello, everyone. I am so sorry this is starting so late. And first of all, welcome to Roll for Crit at Gen Con. And that is right, this is live. This is me here in the well designed room, obviously meant for streaming. You can tell from these curtains, these are pro streaming curtains. But before we begin and hit all the good stuff, I want to say why I was actually late. I got invited to hang out with some game designers, and I want to start because we actually played two games. The first one, which is, of course, I forget now, it was a pool party game. Don't Get Wet, I believe, was the name of it, in which you are sitting around a pool and you're secretly given a color. You don't choose your color piece, and what happens is you need to take you will choose a piece on the board, reveal the bottom of it, and it'll say 1 through 3, and you will move that piece that many spaces. If it lands on a space with a piece, it knocks it into the pool. The idea is you want to try to hide what your piece is while trying to knock over everyone else's, and last two colors alive, and whoever's closest to the diving little there's like a little indent diving what is it called, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of it, where you jump off and dive. That is going to be the winner. It's a small game, but it travels really well, which made sense when we were playing while we were out, and it was really funny to play as I was when I'm the green player, which I was the second time. The first time I was not, and now I'm gonna move my piece, and someone did get me. It didn't work out as planned, but it was still really fun. The other one is Cockroach Poker. A lot of people have played this one, and while I did lose, I made it to the last two with only two cards, and everyone thought I was cursed or something because I think I got like five in a row constantly given to me, guessing correctly that I was wrong or right. But when it came 1v1, that's when all the luck ran out. So that was the reason why. There's also hanging out discussing, but that was the main reason why I'm late. Let's actually get to the things you probably care about. The what happened. So we're gonna start with the thing I put in the link, Asmodee, because they had a lot of stuff to go through. So first one, they showed me whole things. First off, it seems that they've made a deal with Netflix because they have three Netflix shows coming out. They've got a Squid Game one, which is it's Squid Games. It's pretty much gonna fall through that. There is one based on Stranger Things, but the Stranger Things one is actually using the Growl system. So if you want to know how that plays, you can actually watch our Growl review. And I can testify that Growl is a very fun game. So the Stranger Things one, I'm gonna say is a safe bet. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, you like hidden role games, you're gonna like that one. And the last one was Ozark. I mean, I know it's a big show. I've never watched it, and as we were told, it was all about getting the most money, which probably does seem in line with what happens in the show. But moving on, the next thing they had was Endless Winter. This is actually, I think, designed by someone else. It's the first time they were publishing, but this was a very big Kickstarter, and they showed off that, displaying, it's a heavier game, especially compared to when they start off with the Netflix ones, which are much lighter and I think designed with the idea of people who've watched the show maybe aren't the kinds of people who constantly attend Gen Con. But Endless Winter, all about exploring, expanding your tribe. On Kickstarter, I can't remember. Do they have a? They said maybe Q4. If I have my notes here correctly, everything on my phone here. So if that interests you and you missed out on the Kickstarter, now this is a big anniversary for Twilight Imperium. So they had a whole bunch of stuff for there. Obviously, the big games. I mean, if you want to sit down, I would have to. I don't think I could spend the whole. Could you? Well, Gen Con starts at 10, closes at 6, or the exhibit hall. So that's 8 hours. Yeah, I think you could probably fit one game of Twilight Imperium in there. But they also had some other fun stuff. But they were all showing off what's I'm really interested. The new Twilight, not Imperium. Oh my God, I should have wrote down the name for this. The Twilight. Oh my God, I put down an anniversary in just other notes. Rolling right, but I mean this was already known, but we got to see it in person. It looks really cool. Is it Inscription? It's Inscription. There we go. And hey, thank you, Elephant99. Yeah, live stream. And yes, Hoser. Well, I am sorry. I am sorry, but I'm here, and I promise I'll be better all the other days. I knew I was gonna be going to this and meeting with this person. I was like, oh, push this one. Went much later than I thought, but playing Cockroach Poker and Don't Get Wet, both Cockroach Poker is great if you like bluffing. That really is all there is to it. I mean, that's the core mechanic. Nothing wrong with that. But the pool one is one it's definitely the kind of game if you travel, because like the whole board is in the case, and it's really fun. Another sort of bluffing game, but still really clever and cute mechanic for what is essentially playing in the box. But and how I'm doing pretty well, as unfortunately, because if I was able to have so much fun, I stayed up in playing games and hanging out with people. But moving along, the Twilight Inscription. Let's actually get back to that. Looks really cool. Huge, like multiple boards, and it's dry erase, so it's not like you're gonna have 100 cheats. He actually has a bright orange pen. I'll have to try it out. I'm a little worried, only because any game with dry erase of pens can run out. The difference is buying a black or even just a random color dry erase pen is usually not too hard. You can just run to whatever your art store is near you. This is like neon orange. I don't know how common that is, but that's just me maybe probably worrying a bit too much if pens run out. We've had that happen before with games. And I probably can find it there. If not, maybe Amazon. So I'm probably crying over a molehill about that one. But that said, the game looks really cool. I'm really excited to try it out. Hopefully I'll get a chance to actually sit here at the convention to do it and stuff. I have a lot going on. But I also want to mention it apparently has a cool solo mode that goes there too, which for something like that, a big roll and write, that's what we'd probably want. And personally, I'm curious what your thoughts on. I know there's been most roll and writes are still big, and we're seeing a lot of them, and it's almost like everyone makes their version. But I feel a lot of them beforehand were smaller roll and writes. They're really quick and light. One of the reasons why people love them. But we're starting to see things. We saw them before, but I think we're starting to slowly ramp up with the dinosaur, Rar and Write, the Twilight Inscription, of these larger roll and writes. I mean, maybe you could argue they're still smaller than what they were based on, but they still feel like they're the much meatier ones, the ones that will rival your regular multiple, like 1 to 2 hour games. I don't know the actual playtime on Twilight Inscription. Don't know if that's it, but just this idea of something that takes up a lot more table space and doesn't feel like a quick light game. But moving on, they're partnered up with Mondo for the 007 Spectre game they showed off. This one is you're playing as 007 villains. And that one's been out for a while, but now that reminds me completely. I should have jumped to this one first. Give me a quick second. I want to add this video into the stream. I couldn't find a reasonable way to add them all ahead of time that I felt worked well, so you're going to have to please bear with me as I try to make sure I add this next video. It should be... let me just make sure that's muted. Yes, great. It is that one. All right. So...
The Zombicide games are usually, like 2 hours? Something like that?
I don't want you playing that. All right. So what you're seeing right now is a Zombicide roll and write. This is a cooperative game in which you will be playing as different characters, as you can see here. And you'll have zombies. Oh, God, that glare is always a pain on things that are dry erase. Has a grid pattern, and you'll use weapons that show different patterns. You can mark them off on the board. That said, you have to be able to fit it exactly. So you're going to have to work together to discuss when, like, oh, you got to leave that open for me because I can only draw a certain shape. It looks really interesting, and I like the idea behind it. And once again, dry erase, so. And it's a little bit lighter compared to the other ones, which I don't think is too bad. In fact, I think it's interesting because with the new Marvel Zombicide from Spin Master that's designed to be a little bit lighter and also more price efficient. I think something that you were more likely to sell at a mass market retail. This seems to be another good way of bringing something that's smaller and lighter in the Zombicide family to bring people into Zombicide that already has like, it can be very daunting to enter something that already has like tons of titles already. Hadrian's Wall, yes, that's that was like the first one. Thank you, Adam. That was like the first big one I think that did the rolling rights. Yeah. I have not done Acropolis yet, Cameron. I will make my way there. Thank you so much for all the good words. But yeah, I'm a sucker for rolling rights, but I like the dry erase because I feel one, you don't have like a whole. I will say when you get like a whole sheet of paper, sometimes at least for me, maybe it's because I play so much, I feel guilty. Like, oh, God, I'm never gonna get through this whole stack, and maybe something that's good. But part of me is like, that's what is expected. But the dry erase, I never had to think. I'm just right in a race, though you could damage the board with depending on how you erase it. But all right, I'm going on too much. All right, so there is a new racing game, and this one I took photos of. So we'll just go, boom. Oh no, you want to see that? You don't want to see the back stuff. There we go. This is the new racing game. If I can open it up. There we go. Called Heat. Pedal to the Metal. Apparently, the idea behind this one is you're not only just racing around and have to monitor your speed, changing gears. Apparently, heat and weather are going to play a much bigger issue here. You can either do standalone races, but there's also a campaign mode in which, depending on what day it is, you're going to have different weather effects. You can change how the race, change the way you overheat and stuff. So it really seems to try to play on more of the, not the extreme environmental like hazards and stuff, but rather just monitoring like what, not just how your car's doing, but how it's doing in the area. So if this looks like more of a dry area, your car's more likely to overheat. It's an interesting idea, and I'll have to see more of it. Luckily, I can on a later. This is more of a quick tour, if I can speak, while we were visiting everything. Let's see. Moving on. Sorry that I'm doing a campaign. Yep. Oh, yeah. So the other thing they wanted to show and they talked to us about was the Unlock Kids version. This apparently has already came out. The stories, they say, are a bit more lighter and whimsical, I think was how they described it, as best they can without spoiling. They said the big thing that they wanted people to know is that this doesn't use an app. Apparently the idea, it's not Space Cowboy, it's Space Cow. And they did say they wanted to get people away from a screen, which probably isn't good for me considering you're watching this on a screen, but please stay. But no, I can get the app, and this way you don't have confusing downloading in like Hugh's phone or something weird like that. The kids can just play with the cards. But if you have, otherwise it's the same escape room. Could be a good thing for you to buy if you have kids, especially now. I can imagine like you get that, you go through them, and maybe pass it on to a kid's friend in the class, and then everyone can just talk about it afterwards. So, I mean, there's a lot to cover with Asmodee, and more for me to sit down and actually try. This is all at the end of the day, and I definitely will. And in fact, I'll probably get the chance to review some of these. So we'll let you know, all know at a later date. Yeah, Allie, thank you so much. Yeah, it can be a lot going on, and unfortunately, there's just so much they got to do, and unfortunately, and I mean, great, and unfortunately, you get the chance to play some games. I'm actually going to go over some of the games I actually sat down and played. Well, you know what? We'll go do that now. I went backwards order because Asmodee was the last thing I saw, but we'll totally do that. I'm sorry, I don't know Maple Valley. And please suggest these things. This is giving me a list of what to bring up on future streams. So if there's something I don't bring up, A, I may be seeing it a little bit later, but B, I'll make sure to do my best to stop by it. I've got a lot of things planned on, but this is the new Creature Comforts game. I gotta check it out because I didn't play Creature Comforts, but it looked adorable. So yeah, I will definitely take a look at Maple Valley. I'll gotta go over there. But going back to games, the first thing I did in the morning, because this is where I beelined it, was to the Pegasus Spiel booth, because if you've watched our previous videos, I talked about the Kenner Spiel winner was the Living Forest from them, and that beat out both Cryptid and Dune Imperium, 2 games that I love. So I had some high, I was thinking, all right, this game better be good. It beat 2 games that I think are great, but I went there, they didn't have it, which is a shame. But if you're watching, this is very important, and you wanted to try it, if you actually just walk right past their booth, it's right behind them. Like, I think it's literally the next booth over, if not, stay in the aisle. Look like right around there. There's a Spiel de Jahres booth that has every winner there, so you can play the game there, and I did. And I gotta say, for Living Forest, it's good. It is really fun. It is a deck builder, but it did something similar to Valiant Wars, in which it's push your luck. I think this is going to be probably, if there are new deck builders that hit the scene, I imagine this is going to be a trend, because this sort of this is like one of those ways to avoid any kind of guilt of fodder in your deck. Everything helps as long as it's not the bad card. And the way it does it, though, and I really like this, because one of the big problems with Valiant Wars and some other push your luck games, so Quacks of Quedlinburg will be the other one I talk about, is in Valiant Wars, if you push your luck too far and you fail, you're out, you're done. And in Quacks and Quedlinburg, I feel like even if you explode, it might hurt you, but I never felt like it was very dangerous. This, I think, is closer to Quacks, but it definitely does a better job. The way it works is the card anatomy is, let me make sure, because I swore I took a picture, and maybe I can, if it's good enough. I didn't take a picture of the cards. I took a picture of the board. Oh, no, wait, there's a picture of the, okay, hold on. Let me open it up. Can I rotate this? Why are you sideways? This is annoying. Let me see really quick if I can just, nah, I cannot rotate this. Oh, I could probably rotate it in OBS, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, hold on. So, boom. And then, is there a way to rotate? Okay, there should be. Scale, nope. Node. Hey, it's the bottom half of me. All right. Well, I'm just going to zoom in on a card. I'm sorry in advance. But, ooh, too much. All right, so, let me make sure that's all in frame there. Great. So, as you can see the cards, they have little signs on them with either like a sun, a water, or a plant symbol. And as you flip them over, you could flip over a card like you see there with that black symbol. It looks like a nighttime. That's sort of your bad luck. Reveal 1, you're fine. Reveal 2, you're fine. Reveal 3, you go bust. Now, what going bust does is it only gives you 1 action instead of 2. The actions are those little signs on the card. Suns are buying more cards. Water is putting out fire, which I'll get to. The green leaves are buying those trees you can see in the corner. And the weird wind symbol, I guess, a spiral that you can see at the very bottom, is moving, which I'll show in a later image. And then finally, the lotus at the bottom is a victory condition. And why don't I go to that? To win the game, there are 3 ways you can win. You can either A, get 12 of those lotus symbols showing on your board or in your cards. B, gain 12 unique trees. So right now you can see 4 there. You need to build a few more. You can also start with some. Or put out 12 fires. So all of these are possible. Now, the way you actually collect them, and if I can just click out here, there, you can actually see some of the fires, and those are the trees that are available. But the thing is, when you collect them, you actually start with your symbols of your own. So you start with a personal lotus, tree, and fire. And on this pathway, this is where you walk. If you ever hopscotch over someone or frog leap them, you steal one of their tokens. So it becomes this weird game of how you can change each other's win condition. Because if someone's going for fire, you can take their fire token, making it harder for them, but that still might not help you, but then you can take their tree, which helps you because it brings you closer to your tree condition. And the space you land on also can give you an extra bonus. So instead of doing 2 or 1, it's really helpful to get 2 actions. Doing 1 means you can at least do something. So busting doesn't mean you've lost your entire turn, but it really does put you at a disadvantage. And turned out I had a lot of fun because I was collecting trees during the game, and no one ever took their trees. I took all my opponent's trees, and so I was like 11 trees. I'm like, I'm guaranteed to win this. Next card, couldn't buy a new tree. My opponents were able to accidentally get a whole bunch of fire, and the other one got all lotuses. We almost had every win condition trigger at the same time. You don't check until end of the round everyone plays. And then you have to check how well you did on the other 2 conditions if there's a tie. So I think that is the reason it won. The win condition interaction is actually really clever and fun. So I can sufficely say, and by the way, it is simpler compared to Dune Imperium, which I always think is part of the Spiel thing. But overall, I can say this. I can see why it won. It is a fun game. It was quite enjoyable, and I am even more depressed that I can't pick it up right now from Pegasus Spiel. So it's definitely worthy of the slot. I will say that at the very least, whether you agree or disagree, depending on your thoughts on Cryptid or Dune Imperium in terms of who actually won. I will say it was worthy to stand among them for someone who loves those 2 games as well. The other game I played was the one from Horrible Games. Living Planet was it? Oh, wow. I should remember this. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on all these things. And unfortunately, these weren't ones I put notes on because they were like, when I was walking around, I'm like, table's free. I'm like, yes, let me play. And looking it up now if everything will load. I thought it would be like front page of their website. Is this it? Evergreen? Make sure. Yes. Okay. So Evergreen, I don't think I have images of this one, unfortunately, because we were playing and then I looked at the time I had to run to a meeting. Yeah, I don't have images of this one. So the idea behind this one is each player has a planet. It plays actually a lot like photosynthesis. If you know that one, it's all about planting trees of different heights. Yes, Evergreen, SJ, thank you. And there's a sun that rotates around that gives points. But that's me like giving you like 5% of the rules. Instead of you sharing a board, each player has their own planet. And there are going to be a number of cards put out for you to draft from. Open, not closed hand. Whoever has the first player marker will take a card. Then that first player marker is put on the leftmost card. Should someone choose that card, they take it. If no one chooses it, the first player marker goes back to the first person. Now, these cards will have a color matching to a sort of district or terrain on the planet, as well as a little bonus symbol on the bottom and a point symbol at the top. The point symbol only comes in at the end of the game. You see, the one card no one drafts gets put in a special pile, face up. End of the game, you're going to look at all the cards no one drafted, and that's how you're going to score each sector for big trees. So, like, sometimes, like, I want to grow in the more tundra area, but I want to get more tundra cards in the scoring zone so I can score them more. And, of course, your opponents are going to have to read each other and deal with that. And the pieces, there's, like, this reminds me it reminds me of That Time You Killed Me because there's a tree growing. But you start with, like, a shrub, a little, like, wood shrub that gives you no points. Like, only green things give you points. A small tree, then a big tree. Small tree will give you a point for each at the end of the round for the sun showing on it, but it casts a shadow behind it like photosynthesis. Tall trees can look over small trees but cast a bigger shadow. So you're balancing where you place the trees, how you grow them with certain actions, and you can get special actions based on the card you draft, which gets stronger every time you draft the same one. You keep track of it. So it was actually really cute and clever. I like the idea of not simply just worrying about where you place the trees then, just like photosynthesis, but how the sun rotates, but then you also have to worry about the scoring system. So it's got a lot of interesting mechanics going on and rewards you not just for drafting in the most valuable point section, but also the different bonuses. Because once you get some strong bonuses, like to their strongest power, you can get a lot of victory points or get like almost as if you drafted 3 more times. Yeah, no, Manuel, it is a lot like photosynthesis. Imagine photosynthesis, but everyone gets their own board, and you've added drafting that dictates where you're even allowed to place trees on your board. That is how the game works. No, totally fine. That's the exact kind of connection I saw, and that's why I think if you like photosynthesis, this is the same kind of game. It's a puzzly kind of game, less of the ruining your opponents in terms of placing trees, and more on the drafting of cards, because the card you draft dictates not only where you place trees. Obviously, you take what maybe an opponent wanted, but what card isn't drafted gets left out and just dictates what areas get scored the most at the end of the game. So going third actually can give you a pretty good chance of saying, I want this area to be the biggest points one. So there's definitely a lot of cool stuff going there. I mean, it's horrible, Gil. They tend to always do very well for me, at least. All right, so moving on, looking through my images and stuff. Let's see if there's something fun here that isn't just me taking pictures of Warhammer minis. Okay, yeah. So, Legendary. We'll talk about Legendary next. Oh, no problem. I'm going to try talking again. Okay, so Legendary. We're going to switch back over to pictures. We have a new encounters. Legendary Encounters Matrix. This is they had demos there that I wasn't allowed to take pictures outside of this because they could barely get the prototypes there, so they don't want you to be like, this is not the final copy. But they've got a lot of cool stuff there. It's the Matrix. We've got, it's going to follow the trilogy. As of now, nothing involving the fourth movie? Yes, fourth movie, the newest one. And it's going to play the encounter system, so you're working together. The gimmick in it is that there is a telephone booth, so you will bounce between the Matrix and the real world. You can only do certain actions like recruiting in the small one versus the big one. We'll actually get to the other images here. I would want to double check. I've got some videos I could. I'll put them up later, but because they're not the game, they're just of the booth. But that sounds pretty cool, and I do like this system. I'm excited because I do think the idea of the encounter system works well with the Matrix in terms of like hidden cards, what's available. Hoser says the art looks better than the Firefly one. Yeah, I don't think they're going to live down the Firefly one too much. But I'm very excited to try this one out. The other big thing, pull up go back to the images, and you probably already saw it, is they're going to be announcing a new thing each day, but I think they pretty much told me the rest are mostly versus. And today was versus the boys. So the boys now join the whole versus system. So if you're into that, you can pick that up. The other thing is it's their 10th anniversary, which, oh God, 10 years of Legendary. Why does everything have to remind me how old I am? Anyway, there are some awesome promo cards you can get there to buy. They have like alternate arts and some gold foil. And here's the full list of the cards you can get. But if you are curious what they actually look like, I can show you. They let me have one. Look, behold, Phoenix. Ooh, Dark Phoenix. Look at that. That's so cool. They also sent me, or not sent me because I'm there, pick me up, to the new Black Panther. So I'll be reviewing that as well. I'm very excited to try out and see the new keywords and finally get to ambush the villains for once. Because they've been ambushing us all this time. It's time that they learned what it feels like. But yeah, so a lot of fun at Upper Deck. I'm really glad to see that big colorful booth. That's always the one of the fun things I remember, especially from previous Gen Cons when they were first starting up. There is a phone there you can ring in to go in. It's fun. So if you're there, definitely go check out all the fun stuff they have. And like I said, every day, I think they said around 2 too. So you can 2 o'clock can be we'll go there and see whatever new thing they announced time. Let's see what else. I'm taking my notes. Wait. Oh, yes. Sorry. Um, well, I guess I was thinking. I saw them. So I saw Funko Games. I can't talk about most of the things that I saw there. What can I say is tomorrow morning there's going to be two big announcements. Uh, one of which will involve their tournament there, and I'll leave it at that. But so if you like their stuff, keep an eye out for that. But a lot of cool things they have down the pipe for many. I'm going to tell you now. None of you will predict some of the stuff that they told me about. You will not predict it. But they were kind enough. Whoop, don't step on that. I've got the Big Thunder here. I'm making sure because I went to the wrong thing. There we go. So slowly we will be able to visit Disney World without actually going to Disney World. We're just gonna have set up all these games. I'm actually tickled at the idea of doing that. I think it sounds hilarious to just have. It's like almost like when you set up as a kid the idea of setting up all like the Hot Wheels or Lego sets in one thing to make a huge city or racetrack. I want to remake the park in cardboard, and they are slowly letting me help me do that. But the other thing they gave me, even though I strictly told them I had already gotten it, they said, even though you're going to get it later, it's not fast enough. Yeah, that's right. It's time to return to the island. I am super excited to play that. So it's going to be an absolute blast. Life is Fun wants to know, yeah, I mean, when there's so many games, it's always hard to make a choice. Favorite game I played today. Crud. Well, Living Forest surprised me the most. Maybe because I just had such a high bar for it to meet, and it relatively met it. The Horrible Guild one I was pretty happy with. And then there's the two older games, that Cockroach Poker and the Don't Get Wet. I feel Don't Get Wet was like my favorite light one. I mean, Cockroach Poker was fun, but just bluffing. I feel like the pool thing had some fun little mind games to it. And I think right now, yeah, Living Forest, I think, as much as I love the Horrible Guild one, I think the Living Forest just was a bit more streamlined and lighter that fit. It may fit the right mood for early in the morning. What else do I have to cover with the people I talked to today? I'm going to look at my calendar because that shows all my meetings, and that will remind me if I missed someone. Oh, well, I'll talk a little bit about now. Yeah, Life is Fun. The Horrible Guild one and the Living Forest from Pegasus Spiel are just out. So definitely, if you're at Gen Con, I'd say check them out. Otherwise, the Don't Get Wet. I mean, I was just playing. Someone brought it in the Cockroach Poker. They're small games. Definitely check them out because they're the kind of games that we brought with us to a restaurant. It's the kind of small game you can take out with you, especially the pool one. The pool one, I think, is like, because it's literally all played in the box. That is like, I don't know, you could ask for too much more for the travel and on-the-go game. Lopez, I have not tried the My Little Pony deck building game, but I will go. Yeah, they've got to have a table. Renegade has so much stuff there. I will go and find it for you. It's on the list. All right, but the other big people I saw today was Restoration Games. And that one was a really interesting talk because I felt like not only did we talk about the Dark Tower and then their new games, really the key one. Oh, that I do have footage for, and I want to show that. That I definitely want to pull up. So give me a second. And thank you for everyone who's just dealing with all my tentacle tomfoolery. As it's not only the first night, but it's late, so I just, I'm being a fool! A fool, I say! Ba ba ba. The Key to the Kingdom. Yes, that is the game. Now, as I pull up the media source. Media source. Okay. That's Dark Tower. Here we go. All right, you're gonna hear. So this is a guy actually explaining the game. So if you don't know, it's a board that folds in and out based on whether you step on the pools. Though in the original game, that could kill you if you got closed on. This, it just teleports you. It's much friendlier. They said this one's a bit more kid friendly and a bit more random on dice. You'll be rolling dice around. In fact, I can zoom in. You can see what they're doing there. But you also have a bunch of items you can add, so you can modify your die, which is very helpful in terms of completing all the quests to get the key parts. And that way you always have available. There's some special items, though, and some special characters that can give you even more powers. And your goal is to make it to the end where the boss is. That's that sideboard back there. I think I might not have recorded that part when they talked about it. No, I did not, it seems. But you go back there, and then the idea is it becomes this fun, weird race of there's a bunch of tokens, and you land on them, you flip it over, you have to roll and beat that. Most first ones are small. The last one can get higher, and then you have to be a 20, which is the boss. And only on the boss are you allowed to use more than one item that modifies your roll. So you want to try to use as little items as possible till you get there. It is a dice-heavy game, but it looked like a cute light game, and I think of a pretty good way to bring the old game back into the mainstream marketplace. And it gives them, it adds a lighter title, I guess, to their catalog. And so I think it looks pretty fun, especially if you have a younger audience, because there isn't too much going on. It is moving and rolling, but it's not. There are different paths and different ways, so it doesn't feel like you're like Monopoly just going around the same track. But we also talked about the Dark Tower, as well as like their experiences with Backer Kit, because I was really curious. It's their first Backer Kit's one of their biggest ones is the new Dark Tower expansion. I will actually be playing that Saturday morning. Saturday? It is Saturday, right? Yes, I didn't forget. Saturday morning. So I'll be able to tell you more about that then. But in terms of the experience, they said that Backer Kit has been very receptive and actually responding and trying to actually improve what's available to them. And they mentioned how they've only noticed recently those were back when GameFound started, that Kickstarter sort of upping the game too. So hopefully, I'm liking what I'm hearing from a lot of the game designers about this. I keep asking and bringing it up because it's the kind of thing I'm interested in, because usually we tend to lose, to be honest. We see more people gobble up and become bigger, but we're starting to see competition in the crowdfunding market, and arguably one of the most important things out there. I mean the Endless Winter I talked about, huge Kickstarter. Gloomhaven, one of the most important, arguably now one of the most important games that come out in recent times. That was crowdfunding. I think crowdfunding is going to stick and be a very important of the board game industry, and seeing the competition increase is going to be important, especially when we're going to have to deal with probably some things on our end we're not going to be happy about, with mostly involving shipping. But, Life is Fun is signed up for Psychology Warfare? I'll have to check that little card game. I'll have to see what that is. I don't know that one. Sorry, Life Fun. The two ones was not in the playtest room. So Living Forest, even though it's Pegasus Spiel, they didn't have it, but Spiel de Jahres booth right next to theirs does have it. They have all the winners for the Spiel this year. So you've got the Magic Mountain, the Living Forest, and Cascadia. Try them all out. Definitely go and hit their booth, because also a lot of people might not actually realize they're there and to play that. So you pretty much get 3 great games set up, ready to go. The Horrible Guild one is in their booth. I think is it hundreds? It's the very first row, like all the way to the side at the very end, back left corner, depending on how you look at it. That's where those two games are. They are finished copies. I'm 90. I think you could buy the Evergreen there. You can't buy Living Forest, but I think they had Evergreen there. Like I said, I had to rush and leave. I accidentally thought I lost my camera at the Horrible Guild booth. Turns out I put it in the wrong pocket, like a fool. Yeah, Bill Spencer, completely agree. Yeah, more is better. We need the competition. But let's see. Other things with restoration games. There's a little bit more I talked about. Now they could not tell me. They would not tell me, which is fair. What the new unmatched characters are going to be. What they did say though is that there are a new digital unmatched in the work. You can actually sign up for beta test right now, which I'm probably going to do because I would like to see how this plays, and Unmatched seems like a perfect two-player game. That said, I do have some caveats I know about, which stink, but probably you would like to know. First off, due to licensing hell and, of course, all the fun, complicated issues they go about it, I will not go over what they did with me, not because it should be kept secret, but because it's probably boring. But needless to say, boring for most people. I actually found it. I like the boring, how the sausage is made. Anyways, needless to say, it is complicated and annoying, so the digital version will actually not feature licensed characters, such as the Marvel characters. Now, whether those characters will be replaced, because I was curious, like, would you have, instead of Daredevil, maybe the Stuntman or something? You know, pretty much totally not that character, but same deck, so you can mechanically still play with them in the game. They said, we don't know yet. But they are thinking about the possibility of some digital exclusive characters then. I'm not the hugest fan of that, to be honest. Because, you know, if you play Unmatched, you sort of like, unless it's designed to be significantly different. I think that's the big thing. If they make a digital character that makes sense that you could only play digitally, then I think that's a great idea. Because then it makes sense. It has to survive on the digital app. But if it's like, we made a character that can only be played digitally but would make sense physically, we're not making physically, it's a little sad, but that's my preference on that. You're going to have to ask if anyone is more in the Unmatched community, which I also asked about balancing and stuff, but so far seems pretty good. It seems to have ups and downs, but for the most part, they mentioned, like, I think they said no one has a win rate lower than 40 or higher than 60, which is pretty good for the most part. They did say, we were talking about how Medusa and Bigfoot have too much movement, which makes sense. That's why I have a high win rate, because those are the ones I played with early on. I did not know they were good when I did. Bigfoot looked cool. So does Medusa. She has a bow. I like monsters. Anyway, I actually talked to both Justin and Rob from Restoration. I'm trying to remember if there's anything different, because I talked to them separately. It's a fun little dance around that. But I did ask them who would they, and they've been asked this before, but I hadn't asked it, and I was curious. Who would they want to add in Unmatched? Rob said Star Wars. Full circle. Bring it back to what brought it in. And I mean, yeah, I would. My completionist loves that idea, the full circle idea, especially with Restoration games being about restoring the games. And that they have the Marvel's been on there. It's like, well, maybe it's possible. The other one was, oh my God, I'm forgetting Justin's now. And he's the one who said, oh, I've been asked this 100 times. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Because it was a martial artist. It was a fighter. But it wasn't Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee's already in it. I am apologizing in advance and the shame that I have brought onto the channel. Apparently he's already has that character design, though. I'm sure I'll remember as soon as I turn off the stream. And yeah, they talked a little bit about the. I don't think it was Jean-Claude. Bilson, thank you, but God, this is gonna bother me. All right, but yes. So talked about that. We talked about the idea of bringing back games. The game Dinosaur Tea Party is based on. Apparently, pretty dated, and so it was very good that they wanted dinosaurs. Apparently, the actual idea of the game, before they even worked on it, was Rob was working at a university, and some kids came in to borrow some pieces of games, and they were playing with some dinosaurs, and he told them, like, stop having a dinosaur tea party, and that name just stuck in his head until they were thinking about this game, and he's like, I got it. And I'm very happy he did. I am a big fan of Dinosaur Tea Party. I think it's adorable, and I love it. But I think that's pretty much most of the restoration kits. Like I said, it was a lot of interest. I want to talk to him. It wasn't Chuck Norris. Hoser. Right. God, let's not play that. I'm going to feel bad because then I'm going to say, like, it's not someone and it was. But I'm pretty sure, like, God. Don't make me Google and do this. Focus on the games. But pretty much, yeah, I was talking a lot because I'm really curious about, like, the backing of, like how the unmatches, what's going forward. Oh, they did talk about the 2 new ones. This is already known. The Marvel Teen Spirits, it was Miss Marvel, Cloak, Dagger, and I'm forgetting the 4th character. It's another Marvel teenager. And the other one was King and Country, which is Black Panther versus Black Widow, and I think the Winter Soldier. Squirrel Girl. Thank you, Bill Spencer. Yes, that's the 4th. That's the Teen Spirit. So more Marvel. So it seems like they still have all the Marvel license stuff for now. We'll see what happens. Like I said, the licensing, they explained it all to me. It's one of those fun messes where you're just like, you feel so bad, and you're like, I'm really glad I'm not in your shoes and have to deal with this. But yeah, a lot of fun stuff there, and let's see. And I wish I saw the storage box. I need to go see that because I always love seeing a storage box. Apparently, there is a very nice large one for Unmatched. But yeah, outside of that, that was actually that was pretty much quickly me going over everything. And honestly, that was my slow day. The next few days have a whole lot more meetings for me and a lot more for me to tell and previews and stuff. So I will be streaming much earlier. So I appreciate everyone who stayed this long. But before we go, I'll show some of the stuff I've already picked up that I haven't shown yet. First off, finally got this Skull King. Our family plays games, if I can speak, has talked very much about this one. So I was like, I gotta get it. I keep putting it off. Dude, I want to buy this, and I was at this. This is one of the things I was also interested at Pegasus Spiel. The Carnegie, I actually talked about it in my video. Thank you, Lopez, from the Gen Con Lives, and yeah, Hoser. I always hear good things about it. Now, this one you probably assumed I was going to pick up. That's right. It's time for me to grade Smash Up Disney. I haven't done the Knights of the Round Table yet, so I'll put them together with that. We'll put them on my grading system. Actually, I forgot this. I stopped by Pandasaurus and got a Skull King, so gonna check that out and review it. I'm sad I don't get the Abominable Snowman when I first saw the game. They drew it. It was a prototype. Oh my God, I mispronounced it. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm a fool. I am so sorry. So sorry. I'm really sorry. This is not the way I wanted to end the stream as a person who cannot speak. You know what I'm trying to do for a living now. This is not a game, but as a Blastoise user and a Taco Bell fan, I had to pick this shirt up. This shirt speaks to me on many levels. And that's pretty much. Oh wait, no. Where is it? Where did it go? There is a promo for the DC deck building game around here that I bought. but it has seemingly vanished. So I'm sure it's like underneath the chair or something. But that is it for now. That's right, Water Bowser. No, it's not just water. No. It ain't Water Bowser. This is Mountain Dew Baja Blast Bowser. Behold, behold him in his diabetic sugariness. But yes, stay tuned for more, and of course, I will have more to show you, and I'll post all the pictures onto Instagram. So if you want to see what is there, you know what? Actually, before I go, I will. This one is for. I believe it was you, Hoser, who told me about this game, and I finally saw them in person. I will pull it up the images right now. I got the chance to finally check out really quick stay in there. The Necromole, the Play-Doh game where you actually make your own creatures. They have a new expansion coming out, which actually adds some asymmetrical powers, as well as some fun little tools you can either equip people with or just stab their little things until they get weaker. And of course, as I am playing this Play-Doh game, I had to kill off my guys. They look pretty, though. All right, that is everything now. So thank you so much for everyone who watched. It's Falcon Ashhoser. Sorry, I was like, I remember someone in our Discord was talking about and showing it, but it was a lot of fun. Definitely, I will try more and definitely check out the new Kickstarter when it comes later. But for now, that is pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. Please stay tuned. I'm gonna try next time for the next nights to be 8 o'clock Eastern. So it'll be much earlier. So thank you again for everyone who still stopped by. That is pretty much it for now. And of course, I'm going through those comments and I'm going to look up all the games you talked about. You got the My Little Pony deck building game. We've got where were the other? I know there are at least 2 other ones. I will find them later. I will find them, but I will check them out. So stay tuned and I will talk about those later. But for now, thank you so much. I'm Will and this has been Roll for Crit. Bye.